Dude here, and I'm taking a break from the countdown videos on this one as I've been tagged, as well as Retro Prime, by Rich, aka Zurtrider, to do the Transformers Tag Challenge. So here we go. I'm just going to answer these questions as honest as possible. So my favourite toy in my collection is this guy, MP Ultra Magnus. There's two reasons for this. Firstly, Ultra Magnus is my favourite character, and secondly, I picked him up at my first ever Transformers convention, the last ever auto assembly. Yeah, I may have paid a little bit more than he was going for at the time, and he's got a few imperfections, like this shoulder bit comes off a little bit too easy, or is it that one? I can't remember, but it doesn't matter. This is just, it's Ultra Magnus in its purest form. What is my most expensive Transformer? Well, it is MP Ultra Magnus again. Yeah, like I say, I paid a little bit more than his registered retail price should be, I suppose, at Auto Assembly, but I have no regrets. How many Transformers do I own? Well, I don't know, to be honest. I used to keep track of that, but to be honest, as the collection grew, I just lost track of it. I would say I'm probably hitting at least 3 to 4, maybe 500. Maybe not as many as 500, maybe probably about the 350 mark. I don't know, and some of them do have to stay in storage, unfortunately, just for space restrictions. What is the worst Transformer I own? Undoubtedly, it is this guy. He's not official. He has the CHMS version of the Hinky Ghost Starscream, and I'm actually terrified holding him just now because I feel he's just going to crumble in my hands. I got him from the now defunct KO Toys many years ago, more as a sort of test purchase to buy something from a Chinese website rather than, you know, using the sort of eBay or Kapow or anything like that where I'd normally get figures that were imported. He came through and everything, but he's just not good. Absolutely not. Where is the best stroke worst place to find Transformers? Well, ultimately, the best place to find Transformers for collectors, like myself, is online. There's just no question about it. Places like Kapow, In Demand, TF Express, TF Direct, Show.z, yeah, they do official stuff. Online is the best place there. The best chance that I can have as a way to support Hasbro in UK shores is through the likes of Smiths. Used to have a bit of luck with Toys R Us, but ultimately that's just, you know, obviously not going to happen anymore because Toys R Us no longer exists. Rest in peace. The worst place undoubtedly to find any Transformers is my local town. It's an absolute shambles when it comes to Transformers. When we had the B&M bargains here, that was always a good chance you'd find something eventually, but all we have now is Home Bargains, Tesco's and Asda, and apart from a very, very rare few sightings, maybe once a year if you're lucky, you might find something here that will appeal to you as a collector. But yeah, it's just shit here. What Transformer do I want the most? And honestly, I would love a Diaclone Ultra Magnus now. The original and even the reissue goes for a disgusting amount of money these days, and after speaking to Maz at the last TFN I was at, he said they're not really worth getting. If you want to transform them, that is, because they'll just crumble to bits, even the reissue one. So if some naughty Chinese company out there would like to, you know, do a KO of Diaclone Magnus, you'd certainly get my money, just for the fact that I could transform it without the fear of it breaking, and if it did, oh well. More realistically, I could probably get the Delta Magnus, the MP version, which I may pick up at TFN. The only other figure that I really want would be a G1 Omega Supreme, either the original or Encore version. What Transformer figure would I like to see made? Well, there's two. The first one's probably going to be an impossibility, but I would like to see a masterpiece version of the Tetrajets, looking like they did in the Generation 1 cartoon, Arrival from Cybertron, or More Than Meets the Eye, depending on where you're from. But I really can't see that being a possibility because the robot mode has to look like an F-15 jet. I think that's the right jet, I don't know, I'm not a jet guy. And also be able to transform into that amazing looking Tetrajet mode. But how could you do that without Kibble? I really don't know. The other figure I would really like Takara to take a stab at would be Cliffjumper. Give him an MP style, treatment, but also make his alt mode chibi. Again, that's probably possible, more so than Tetrajet could be. I'd really love to see that done. The first Transformer figure I bought, and the honest answer is I really don't know. All I can really, the sort of first Transformer I can definitely remember getting very clearly was Power Master Optimus Prime. Now I know I would have had Transformers before that, but that's the first one I very clearly remember getting, actually along with the Generation 1 Headmaster Hardhead, because I got both for one of my birthdays, and I got Hardhead first, thinking that was it, and I was happy with that. And then I remember my parents coming back into the living room with the Power Master Optimus Prime, and I was so over the moon. Sticks in my head so much. But as for the first Transformer I ever bought, I have no idea. That's been lost to the mists of time. So do I prefer official or third party? And also, who is my favourite third party company? I'll always go official. That's where I started, and that's where ultimately, as grim as it is, when I stop collecting, that's where I'll end. It will always be official for me. They are my go-to, whether it's Takara, Hasbro, it doesn't matter. Official is always key for me when it comes to collecting Transformers. Third party, I do have a few third party figures, and I'll still get some more in the future. In terms of my favourite company, it is really a tie between three different companies. So Make Toys do really good stuff. Their combiner stuff is a bit fiddly. That Computron was an absolute nightmare to combine, and a couple of the individual robots were a pain in the arse, but the combined mode looks absolutely stunning, and it'll never get removed from that because of what I've just mentioned. Mastermind Creations, be it the reformatted or even their Ocular Max team, do brilliant work. I have the Mirage, I think that's brilliant, and I'm looking forward to their Thunderclash, their Imagining of Drift, and a couple of others. And for the smaller scale of things, Mech Planet, the Hot Soldiers G1 style line is fantastic. I'm gonna love getting, at least for the time being, a very little version of Cliffjumper and Hubcap, because they come in a double pack and I can't buy them singly. What's my thoughts on KO companies, or KOs? Always a hot topic in the Transformers fandom. Some like them, some hate them, some are in between. I like them. Now, the one thing I'm not really supporting is them knocking off figures so quick after being released, like the Last Night stuff last year, and now they're already on to Power of the Primes. I think that's incredibly cheeky, and I really wouldn't surprise me if something has to give and Hasbro does step in here with her lawyers. Something's bound to happen at some point in regards to that. But for me, as Rich mentioned, they're a way to get figures that just previously wouldn't be obtainable, with either aftermarket prices being ridiculous in some figures with no reissue in sight, or just simply the fact that they're not going to get made anymore. Again, looking back at one of my original answers about Diaclone Magnus, I would take a kilo of that figure any day, because there's no way I'm going to be able to either afford or want to buy an original version, just because of the sheer price factor involved, plus the fact I couldn't really play with the figure, which is the whole point of Transformers. Who's your favourite Transformers character? Well, I think you know this one already. It's the big man, Ultra Magnus. Why is he my favourite character though? Click, click. To be honest, it's a mixture of nostalgia, and now as I'm more an adult, when I look back on the G1 cartoon specifically, as I'm more a G1 cartoon guy than G1 comics guy, or comics in general, I relate to the way that character's been written and how I am in my personality and in life. As a kid, the Generation 1 Magnus figure, a couple of my friends had him. There's one guy who was very snobby and just kept his Transformers on display, never played with them. It was a bit weird. But my parents could never find him. I'd never seen him in the wild. I think we just missed the run of Ultra Magnus at the time I was old enough to be into Transformers. to play with them and things. So there's always that mystique about the figure. You know, why was he a white Optimus Prime? Things like that. And the cartoon, you know, didn't really explain much. But as a sort of the way that character's written, I see myself like him. You know, not the confidence to be a leader, but I'm always there to give the sort of mentoring role if I've got the experience. You know, things like that. You know, I'm very stoic, stern, much like Ultra Magnus is. You know, I'm not a flashy guy when it comes to videos like you're seeing here. You know, a little smile here and there, but that's about as flashy as I get. I really just do relate to the character, and no, Minimus Ambus, as far as I'm concerned, is an absolute blight on the character and shouldn't exist. What is my favourite cartoon series? Generation 1, hands down. I love season 1 and 2, but 3 is just brilliant. You know, you have the silly episodes of these sort of, as I've mentioned it before, the Fuck It That'll Day episode of Carnage in C minor, to the sublime Call of the Primitives, to the incredibly dark for children, Dark Awakening. It's just brilliant. Second place would be Transformers Animated, because that showed you that you don't have to keep to the same formulaic formula, with Optimus Prime being the stoic leader. He can be something else. He can be a flawed character. A character is still learning. I thought that was a brilliant series, and so many G1 cameos in it. I think that actually helped as well. Which do I prefer, Hasbro or Takara on the main lines? So Hasbro all the way. I'll always pick up Hasbro first before picking up Takara. There's a few exceptions, like I did with the Titans Return line when I picked up the Takara version of Cup and Blur, because I just thought they were done brilliantly, but generally speaking there's not much difference. Masterpiece, it is Takara all the way at that point there, just simply because of the release factor. Plus Hasbro doesn't always give you the Masterpiece figures. I do have the Masterpiece MP10 and Soundwave, which were absolutely fantastic value for money, giving you everything that and more in some cases I needed to get with Takara. But Hasbro is always going to be the go-to for me when it comes to buying Transformers. Transformer movies, love or hate them. On the whole, I do hate them. Now the first one, I agree with Rich, that was done pretty well. I really enjoyed that one, but the rest of them just terrible. Each one got progressively worse. I've not seen the latest one, The Last Night, and I don't plan on seeing it. But I understand they're not there just solely for me, a Generation 1 guy who grew up in that time period. My Generation 1's still going to be there. I'm still going to be able to enjoy that. And they also, more importantly, fund the Generations line for me to enjoy and buy new figures with. So for that, and those movies being there, I am grateful. And the last question, do you think that Hot Rod got Optimus Prime killed in the 86 movie? Absolutely he did. He was an absolute stupid ass who dived in there. To be honest, Optimus should have just shot through him. I mean, looking at the sort of scene there, he would have shot through his arm, maybe? I don't know. You know, I could have done with the loss. And the fact that due to Hot Rod's actions, you know, at the start of the movie when he should have grabbed the Matrix and kept it, he gave it to Ultra Magnus and then got Ultra Magnus killed as well, which just makes it equally a double sin. So yes, Hot Rod was indeed responsible for the death of Optimus Prime. Alright folks, that's my tag challenge done. Thank you very much, Rich, and we're still waiting for Paul to do his, which I'm sure he will in due course. So it's my turn to tag someone. I've been thinking about this, and one person I would like to tag is Mr. Exelon XLR Brad Rhodes. Come on, do it in your grinding style. I know you want to. You'll enjoy it. Well guys, until next time, I'll see you later, and be excellent to each other.